You either fell for the free run smirk or the fact that her enemies literally melt in the same room as her. Qingyi is absolutely insane. You're looking at an absolutely incredibly reliable stun/shock based character that works very well with a huge array of team comps. But she does take a little bit of getting used to. Plus, definitely bonus points if you got someone on your team like Qiyuan. We are keeping this free to play friendly as we possibly can, as well as giving several different ways to build the character and giving you an in-depth way of how exactly Qingyi works and why I'm deciding to pick the certain weapons and items that I lay out for you guys. Regardless, we are going to be doing a full character guide highlighting everything you need to know to play her right. But if you are a little bit more advanced or simply looking for certain parts, feel free to also check out the chapters that I've laid out in the video. Starting off on the front line, let's check out how she actually works. Qingyi is a stun-centered character that totally relies on getting up in the enemy's face and overwhelming them. But to do that, you need to learn about her basic moves first. Let's check out Penultimate. After executing your third attack, Qingyi's moves will rapidly speed up as you continue to spam the attack button, which in return will help build up her electric charge meter that you can see up in the top left. Once that meter hits past that little marker, Qingyi will enter into Flash Connect status. When you are ready, you can then finally hold down the attack button where Qingyi will initiate a huge blast of shock, which is built up with an additional 5 strikes before delivering the final blow. This move itself is incredibly powerful, and if you are able to pull it off right in the middle of a giant group of enemies, you can get some absolutely devastating effects out of it. As you swing, you also will take in around 40% reduced damage, as well as also receiving a high chance of not being interrupted during your attack. This will work for both her special attack and for her basic abilities. Speaking of her special attack, if you hit the button without having full energy, Qingyi will spring into the air and then stab right back down to the ground with a splash of shock. But if you were to have full energy, Qingyi will then use a cartwheel base attack where she will launch herself in the air and then slam directly down in front of her, making it a great choice when striking against a much more powerful target or if you have a couple enemies up in her face. You may also hold the button down, which will give you some more swings, though this will also run you some more energy. This move will almost always knock Qingyi into assist status, especially if you're initiating it while being attacked. So you can quickly launch your special attack, then immediately follow it up with a quick swap onto another character. Finally, let's take a look at her ultimate, the 8 Sounds of Ganchu. This is a massive AoE styled attack that unleashes a huge torrent of moves surrounding Qingyi, where she will inflict tons of electric damage around her, following up with a huge blast burst at the end. Simple yet insanely effective. Okay, so that sums up her basic abilities and what you're mainly going to be seeing on the field. But who do you bring with her to ensure she's doing her best? A good Qingyi always has a good solid team, someone who can offer nice DPS and also provide some additional solid support to bounce off of her playstyle. Qingyi is actually quite reliant on who is on her team, so make sure to always pair her up with either someone who's in the same faction or as an attack character, as doing so will provide her passive, which will provide 20% daze on her basic attacks. And since she absolutely kills it with daze, this is a must. You can mix and match quite a bit when it comes to Qingyi, but let's divide things up a little bit and look at some nice team combos that would work great with Freerun. So the current team I love running the most at the moment is easily going to be Nicole for support and Qiyuan as the DPS. Nicole offers a huge bonus for debuffing enemy units and gives a massive boost to Qiyuan's ether damage, while Qiyuan herself is absolutely just a god tier DPS and gets a nice 30% crit rate boost after EX attacks thanks to having Qingyi along on her team. However, you didn't look out on Mommy Qiyuan. A great substitute is definitely good old Billy Kid. Offering in a nice boost with Nicole present with him, he gets a solid 50% damage boost on his ultimate attacks after using chain attacks, and also plays great if you're looking for a more spammy / shoot 'em up build. Obviously though, when Doe and Seth arrive with patch 1.2, these will all be great additions to have for your team, such as using Seth as a support character and with Rat Mother as jiggle physics. I mean damage. But still, honorable mentions definitely include these, so feel free to experiment a little bit, especially if you lucked out on characters like Ellen or Nekomata, as they can provide some super lethal and interesting combos to go alongside our girl. With that finally clear, let's talk skill priority. By far, when leveling up Qingyi, you should prioritize working on her core skills. Her big selling point is obviously her incredibly good stun abilities, so out of everything, you should really strive to make sure that this one is kept first before worrying too much about the other traits. However, past that, her basic attacks are the next most important part of the whole build, as it's the core reason that Qingyi is giving so much crazy gameplay and damage along with her. However, when you move past that, it's really all up to you, though I honestly would save something like her ultimate for the last, as it's arguably one of the more weaker focuses over the overall kit. It's not necessarily bad, it's just not as important. Finally, let's get to the nerdy part, weapons and disc drives. A huge part of building her is focusing on impact damage, as her passive can provide a nice buff, where if her impact is higher than 120, her attack points will then begin to scale upwards along with it. Now, W engine builds can get pretty broad, but by far, weapon of choice is of course going to be her signature engine. It offers stackable attack and impact scaling for not only her, but the rest of her team as well, as long as Qingyi is using her basic attacks. However, if you are broke, like me, I personally prefer running the Restrain, as it can boost up your damage and gives you good days by 6% for 8 seconds. Plus, it's super gross and entirely free to play friendly as a bonus. Though for some honorable mentions, there are also these as well, so feel free to pair up with what you got and do some testing. Finally, onto disc drives. Now, the absolute best stats to really focus on is getting her damage up, but if you got the perfect set, you can even get your days up along with it. Which is exactly why me and just about every guide I can find online definitely recommends running a 4-piece set of Shockstar Disco, and with a 2 set of Swing Jazz going with it. The reason why is because Shockstar plays in on huge damage and days buffs, and Swing Jazz is just great at helping her pop her EX attack just a little bit quicker. But if you don't like Swing Jazz, you can also do a 2-piece of Thunder Metal, as it can give you just a tad bit more damage if you're looking for a little bit more DPS. And wait, is that all? Honestly, I love Qingyi. She is possibly one of my favorite characters in the story so far, and her gameplay is really just absolutely ridiculous when paired up with other characters like Chuyuan. But of course, and to our loss, a huge portion of the audience is obviously saving up for Jane Doe or waiting on Miyabi. But man, I'm just definitely glad we finally have Freewind in ZZZ. But seriously guys, I hope that I was able to help you all out with your character builds. I've never done something like this before, so I'm pretty sure I messed up somewhere because that's how it goes. But I really wanted to make this as comprehensive and as flexible as I possibly could, because I think ZZZ is the best when you're playing it exactly how you want to play it. Anyways everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more guides, lore, and everything you need to help survive in the Hollow. And as always, till next time, Samurai.